Okay, so I wanted to just do a quick video for anyone who might be struggling. Most people who have regular floors in their bus, it's not a big deal. You just rip them up, even though that can be kind of tough, and you're good to go. I have a 30-foot handicap bus, and this particular bus, which I would have run away from screaming had I known, this particular bus, if you look down here on the floor, has these wheelchair tracks, and you can see that one right there in the middle, and it literally runs the entire length of the bus. This one here used to run the entire length of the bus. I got that much track up by doing it the hard way. But there are 5 of these tracks that are 30 feet long. And then 3 of these tracks that go from right there where the wheelchair lift is all the way to the front. The whole damn floor is covered in these tracks, not just like a lot of the handicap buses where you have a section of the bus that can do wheelchairs. This whole bus has the ability to do wheelchairs. Even when there were seats in here, they were screwed down with the tracks running underneath them. So needless to say, it's been a pain in the ass, and we've tried grinders, we've tried grinding up underneath them, we've tried any number of things, and while I had some successes over here, it was arduous and extraordinarily difficult. I finally found a way to do it that probably is every bit as time consuming, but much easier, and can actually be done with just one person instead of having to have my son use this giant house moving crowbar. So what I did was I went and got Lennox 3/4 inch hole saw blades. And I was basically drilling down through each one of the bolts, which will not move and cannot be cut from underneath because there's other stuff. And the problem with that was it was kind of working, but as you can see, the hole saw bits were getting chewed to bits. And I was like, I don't understand what the hell's happening. Well, the reason why that was happening was because the bits were getting super hot and melting because aluminum, and aluminum sucks for drilling. So I tried other methods that didn't work. So I discovered if I dipped them in a bowl of water, that cooled them off a little bit, and that kind of worked a little better. And then I learned about Tap Magic cutting fluid. Doesn't have to be Tap Magic, but just about any cutting fluid should work fine. And I'll show you now what happens. So before I would drill through one hole and I'd have to stop halfway through, dip it in the water. You would literally hear the water sizzle, and then I would have to continue. And each bit was only good for about 2 bolts before it got chewed to pieces. Now I've got this bit that's already on here, and I've been using it. Ugh. So to give you an idea, I get a heavy duty drill, and it doesn't even have to be an expensive one. I got a Chicago Electric from Chicago. All right. And it literally, if you look down here at these where the brackets go, this hole saw fits exactly in that little bracket, 3/4 inches. That should be a standard. You line up right over top of the bolt, so the entirety of the bolt will be inside. You drill for just a second to get it started. And you'll see the little aluminum flakes go everywhere. And then you pull that out. And some of you guys are going to be like, yeah, well, duh, no shit. Well, not all of us are metal workers or know how to do this stuff with metalworking, which is why I'm doing this. I know plenty about carpentry. I don't know shit about metalworking, but this is how you learn. And nobody could give me a good answer, so I had to figure this out on my own. Now you take this, put it right back over it again. It'll drop right back in. Now what I do is you push down. You don't have to push down super hard. Push down firmly, and I'll just kind of wiggle a little bit. Don't wiggle too much. You'll break the teeth off. I'll wiggle a little bit, but I'll show you what happens. you'll feel it when you get through to the wood that's underneath, because all of a sudden you'll just feel the bit spinning completely different. Well, yeah, so woo! Of course that's going to happen when I'm trying to take a video. I lost the chuck from my drill. There we go. Alright, so now we're through, because I could feel it chewing into the wood. Now, if I dip it in the water, no sizzle whatsoever, because the cutting oil is keeping this from heating up. And in about 20 minutes, or maybe 15, if you look down here, I've actually already done this piece. So that's what you have. This is plywood. These are the bolts, which are still in the bus. Now that one's done, but you see how close together they are. A metric butt ton. When you think of 30, 60, 90, 120 feet, and it's literally these bolts, what did I say, 3, 6, 9, 12, that's 12, just on this one side alone is 120 foot, and these bolts are 4 inches center to center, so every 4 inches is one of these bolts. Once that's done, you can take a pry bar or something, you just get up underneath the, I need to sweep the bus out. You get up underneath it, you can pop this right off. This is where you get your kids to help you, because they can't break nothing here. But once you bust this off, now you just come through with your grinder and just go bing, bing, bing. You can actually say that while you take them off, because it's satisfying. You just cut these bolts off flush. When you cut them off flush with the floor, you will find that most of the time they will just drop right through the bottom. And then you patch the holes later the same way you would anything else. It's going to take a long time, but it's not difficult. I have bad knees and a bad back. This is not hard work. It's just time consuming. But it now turns what was a 3-man job trying to muscle these up into a 1-man job where I can just lift it off and be done with it. So that experiment appears to be working with flying colors. And having done now 5 bolts, you can look at the hole saw bit. I mean, it's starting to show a little bit of wear, but for the most part, it's still intact. I will probably get another, I'm guessing 10 more bolts off of it. So you'll have to buy a lot of these, but they're not that expensive. If anybody has any idea how to make them last any longer, I'm open. But that's been the only way that I can do it. I've left the bus to sit through most of the winter because, 1, out of frustration, and 2, because the weather here has been absolute trash. It rained for 38 out of 40 straight days, and it's been cold. So in Virginia, so now the weather's getting warm and I can get started again. It's just gonna have to just plug my way on through, but I figure I can probably get it done in about 4 nights, 3 or 4 nights. So that's it. I know people in the group have been asking, how do I get these tracks up? Well, this is how I'm getting them up. Using the reciprocating saw, getting under, cutting them off. Not happening. Did not work. I don't know what these bolts are made out of, but the only thing that takes them off is a grinder. And that's that. So happy building.